Canada's free society is under sustained and aggressive attack. We see governments at all levels abandoning their proper role of upholding the rule of law and instead using coercive state power to advance the ideologically favored positions. We see it federally with the Canada Summer Jobs program, denying funding to Canadians with the wrong beliefs. We see it provincially with the education system being co-opted to promote transgender ideology to young children. We see children being harmed because couples who want to adopt kids or provide a loving foster home for kids in need are being denied based on having the politically incorrect beliefs. We see violent groups like Antifa being given de facto power to decide who does and who doesn't get to speak on university campuses. Universities are pandering to mobs rather than upholding the rule of law on campus. We have two choices. We can sit back and watch this happen, or we can take an active role in fighting to defend the free society.
I was covering the federal election in 2019 with True North, an independent digital media company, and the government told us we didn't have the right to cover the federal leaders' debates run by the government as journalists. They actually denied accreditation to us on the grounds that we supposedly engage in advocacy. As a working journalist covering the federal election campaign, I was traveling all over the country. I was immersed in the news, immersed in the election, working nonstop. I didn't have the time or the effort to devote to a legal fight, but then we had to.
Yes, our municipal city government, the city council and the mayor, decided that after 20 years of us flying a pro-life flag that we no longer were able to do so. So we were basically told that we were no longer allowed to fly this flag. We had the right to speak, as did anyone else, and we have never, as a pro-life organization, ever inhibited anyone else's freedom of speech. And so I just felt it was very unjust.
For the past 3 years, I've been working with our club. It's the UBC Free Speech Club. And we've been hosting lots of speakers in the intellectual movement, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, among others. This event was with Andy Ngo, who is, a prominent center-right, Asian, gay journalist.
The rights and freedoms that have been infringed in my particular case is the students at the University of British Columbia, which is a public university, have the right to attend a organized event on campus and to have the right to listen to different ideas.
We signed the contract for the venue and we're good to go. And then at some point in December, I get a call from the chief risk officer of UBC. He said, look, I don't know how this fell through the cracks, but we are going to cancel this. It's not happening. There's no way it's happening. Because what happened before that scheduled event, there were a number of other events, again, nothing to do with us, totally other groups, where Antifa showed up and punches were thrown and phones were broken. And Antifa said, look, if you bring Andy Ngo to UBC, there's going to be violence.
We really felt our daughter lost access to public education because we thought that the way that they were teaching gender in her grade 1 class was harmful. Our daughter actually raised this to us. We had no idea that lessons on gender identity, or gender fluidity as they call it, were being taught in our daughter's grade 1 class. She was 6 years old. We got all kinds of information home from the school about all kinds of other topics, but none about the gender topic. We tried, we went through the whole process with the teacher, the principal, the superintendent. They had no interest. There was no openness in hearing our point of view or listening to our concerns. It was just a one-way conversation, and every objection that we tried to raise was simply something that they used to try to force us into compliance with their lessons, or the only alternative was to sit her out.
When we were looking for an organization that could fight with us and could take this to the next level, it was really a no-brainer. We're very grateful the Justice Centre was standing up for this and was saying, yes, we need to fight for press freedom for all independent journalists and independent media organizations.
The Justice Centre contacted me and thought that perhaps we had a case. And at first I thought, well, there's no way we're going to ever beat the city anyway. But then I gave it a little bit more thought, and I was so impressed with the way they approached me and the situation that we decided to go for it. We won our case here in Prince Albert. We won.
I immediately got on the phone with Marty at the Justice Center, and I said, what do we do? We had a meeting with Andy No, with his lawyer, with Marty, with Jay, with the new lawyers that are involved now, and we said, look, let's take them on. Let's take this to the Supreme Court.
I didn't realize the impact on her until many months later, in fact, because of course, when she first told me that her teacher had said girls are not real, I wasn't even sure if that had actually happened, right? It just seemed so absurd. And she said, I'm happy because I won't have a teacher that tells me that girls are not real. And wow, that was a big eye-opener. And then I was putting her to bed one night, and she asked about it again. And she... She asked why her teacher had said that girls are not real, and then she pointed at the table, and she started pointing at things around her room. And she said, but the table is real, and the fan is real. And even if the fan was made out of cardboard, it's still real. And that was terrifying for me as a mother to hear her say something like that, because I knew then that she had been questioning her own sense of self, her own existence. Was she real? She was 6 years old. She still believed in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all of those wonderful things. And here was a teacher in a position of authority telling her that girls are not real, and it was just it must have been so confusing for her.
When I first learned about the Justice Center, my first impression was really being grateful. I've been covering issues of free speech being under attack for quite some time, and I was grateful to see not only that the Justice Center was an organization aware of this fight, but was actually doing something about it.
I'd like to thank the sponsors, because without them we probably wouldn't have been able to go to court. If the Justice Center wasn't there to help us, we would not have known where to turn, and it probably would have just been a dead issue at that point.
They're everything. I mean, they do pro bono work, and that is massively helpful to students who, are eating ramen every night. And as far as I know, I don't see any other group in Canada that is on the front lines of this war for freedom. So the Justice Center is basically the one and only source in Canada for protecting freedoms.
As the Justice Center celebrates its 10th anniversary, Canada as a free society is going through some very challenging times. But I'm a firm believer in the old saying that the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. That's why I'm very grateful for the Justice Center donors, thousands of people all across Canada who have been supporting our work in the past 10 years. I'm grateful for a board of directors that provides me with wisdom and guidance and accountability every day. And I'm very grateful for dedicated colleagues, lawyers, paralegals, communication staff, administrative staff, who work hard every day to defend the constitutional freedoms of Canadians. As we head into our next decade, you can count on the Justice Center to keep on working hard to defend freedom.
Canadians have a strong history of giving to support their principles and beliefs. The Justice Center does not ask for or accept government funding. We rely entirely on the voluntary donations of Canadians who support our work in support of freedom and justice.